Hey, welcome. Hello. It is the Team Superdad podcast, and we are live. This is a live recording. We've got guests coming on in a second, Laura and Barry Ash of Rock Solid Health. So I was just checking to get it right there, but it's awesome to have everybody here. As you know, we're live streaming on Facebook and Twitter and Periscope and YouTube. So feel free to come on in and join us. As you're watching, then by all means, like and share and start a watch party. Basically, spread the word, because today we're talking about fitness, not just in the body, but also in the head, and how the two of those support each other. And as you might imagine, I'm really interested in finding out how we can link that into not just our individual health as dads, but also, as you might have guessed, with Laura and Barry, they are a couple. So we've got the women's perspective on, which is fabulous. I love that. And also our children. I've got some questions about my children and my children's health and fitness. And I just can't wait to hear all about their journey, because there is a story there as well, as always. And helping as many of the Team Superdad community out as possible. If you're listening on the podcast, then please head over and give us a review over on Apple Podcasts, or just say something nice wherever you're watching. Our feedback is great, and even bad feedback is good, because if there's something better I can do for you, if there's guests that you would like us to have on, like people you'd like me to speak to, maybe it's even you. If you've got a cool story to tell that can be of value to other dads, other families, then by all means hit me up and come on and be a guest on the Team Superdad podcast. So without further ado, let's bring in Laura and Barry of Rock Solid Health. Hey guys, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. How you doing?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Check us out. We're like a bunch of gothic bikers in our black tops, which isn't actually the case, is it? We're wearing something quite bright and stuff. Laura and Barry, we had a little giggle actually in when we were just warming up behind the scenes, because do you say Laura and Barry Ash, or Barry and Laura Ash, and who wins in that fight?
There's only one winner in this relationship. I'll let you guys decide which one that is.
She typed the name tag in earlier today, right? I got that, yeah. So we met on a mastermind, which we've been participating on over the last 6 months. So I think that's important for people to take on board. You know, we're coaches, we're fitness people, we're supporting our clients, we're making a name for ourselves in the communities that we operate in, but we are also investing in ourselves, being coached and making sure that we've got the support there. Oh, I've got so many questions already, but do you know what? Before I get in and ask that, I read when I was wandering through your website about what you did before you became PTs. But just before we get into that, blimey, this is the most important bit. Tell us about yourselves and like what you do at Rock Solid Health, and let's kick off by finding out exactly who you are and what you do.
Your name's first. You go first.
You sure?
Always.
Thank you.
Age before beauty and all that.
So yeah, we are. Sorry, there's always banter between us, Johnny.
Banter's good. You know, I work so hard to find guests, and I say to people, it's even on my briefing, we need to have fun. Could you promise me you're going to be fun? Because there's so many boring podcasts around. So banter's good.
We're Laura and Barry Ash, married couple, which I'm sure we quite possibly will go into. And together we own Rock Solid Health, which we have been running for 7 years now. And very much, you know, we're on a mission to create a world in which it's impossible for anybody to fail with their health and well-being. And the way that we do that is through exposing, you know, the weight loss industry blueprints to help people to find their own version of health and well-being, to create that transformation from within. So we're very much about helping our guys understand their minds so they can control their bodies.
Yeah, so powerful. I mean, habits. I'm always chunnering on about habits in different books I've read, and simply broadening my understanding of habits has helped me create massive breakthroughs. I never struggled with being an overweight person. You know, it's like you go on some stag do's, some people come back half a stone heavier, right? Never had that problem myself, but I'm still very aware, like our habits, our thought process literally govern how many coffees we have each day, how many times we have a takeaway, how hard it is to get out of bed. So I'm fully on board with that, which I knew anyway, which is why I was so excited to get you on board. Definitely. And have you always been fitness instructors? I know the answer to this question. So how did you guys meet? Because I got loads of questions about this. But tell us your backstory. You've been married how long?
We've been married,
15 years.
14 years this year. No, 15 years this year.
Yeah, and together 19.
Yeah. Oh, I got it wrong.
Because quite often couples have different interests, like on my vision board in terms of ideal partner, I know she's got to be into fitness because previous relationships haven't been. And then it just creates a strain. So how do so I'm gonna preempt this. So you were both police officers, prison officers in a former life, yeah?
I was a prison officer. Loz was a police officer. But before that, I was in the fitness industry way before that. So I started in the fitness industry when I was 16, so some sort of 25 plus years ago. And literally, I was just working there, deputy manager of the sports centre and everything like that. And the money was really bad. So I started chasing the money. And a bloke came in the gym and he was a prison officer. And I thought, I'll give it a go. So I went and joined the prison service. But I still had that burning desire to do fitness. And I was quite lucky in the prison service because you could specialise as a PTI in the prison service. So I spent 3 years walking the landings, locking the prison up, dealing with their daily functions. But then I went away to Lilleshall and spent 16 weeks up in the National Sports Centre to train as a personal a PTI. And then I started teaching the prisoners to become personal trainers, sports therapists, fitness instructors, and giving them qualifications so they can go back out into the community and live law-abiding lives again, or giving them the chance to change their lives around.
Wow.
So that was what my job in the prison service was.
And what was the take up on that? People are interested in doing that? Or did you have to really talk them into it?
Literally every course we did, we had the best job in the jail.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Every prison, well, I'd say about 80% of the prisoners, they wanted to come to the gym. They wanted to do the physical activity because they understood getting out of their cell and doing something physical made them feel so much better. And there was the 10, 20% who didn't, but the majority of them wanted to come into the gym. They wanted to come and learn about the body. They want to learn to come and learn about how exercise, they can deliver that outside and get jobs and so forth. So it was a fantastic job to do.
Yeah. So you really saw firsthand inside that environment how someone's health and fitness was transforming their perspective of themselves and of their future opportunities. And I get it was a job, but quite literally, they were becoming more aware of their health and fitness, and it was improving their outlook for the future.
100%. And you could go back to their cells and you could see which ones are partaking in the physical fitness side of things by the state of their cells. So all the guys that were coming in and looking after their body, their cells were immaculate. The floors were clean, the beds were made, everything had its place. And the people who didn't look after their physical body, their cells were a mess. They wouldn't change their beds. They wouldn't clean up after themselves. They was just sleeping the whole day through. So you could tell by looking after your physical being, it affected the rest of their lives, how they actually carried out and how people saw them.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
These little metaphors for normal life inside of other versions of life. We mustn't ignore those. We must really notice those and I think pay attention to the world around us, because that little things like that can actually be enough inspiration, can be enough to kick in a new habit or to help us break an old habit.
But it gave the guys purpose. It gave them something to get out of bed for in the morning, whether it was the education side of it or whether it was to go and play basketball, football, hockey, or badminton, or whatever it was, go in the gym and learn to power lift, learn to become a bodybuilder, whatever we were offering on them courses. Literally, it gave them a purpose to come out and better themselves physically and mentally.
Yeah. And that mental health subject, Laura, I know that's something that you've experienced firsthand as well. So I'm aware you have, or you were diagnosed OCD?
Bipolar and OCD.
Oh, bipolar and OCD. So how long did you live with that before you knew that it was that?
So, I mean, looking back on it, I've probably had the condition from a very young age, looking back on it only after discovering it. But it was only until kind of like my first couple of years into the police that symptoms really started to come out. So I
And what are you like? Are you like a tap the door 3 times, or are you a wash your hands nutter, or what are you?
I could tell you stories that'll make your hair curl when it comes to the OCD. Like there was one point where Barry, he couldn't go to the toilet after 10 o'clock at night. If he wanted to go to the toilet, he'd have to go in the garden. No word of a lie.
Right.
Okay.
Because I broke the routine of cleaning the bathroom down and making sure it was pristine.
Yeah. Because my thing around the OCD was about germs and getting a stomach bug or being sick. So whether it be food poisoning or a stomach bug or something like that. So when I went to bed at night, I would have a routine so that I felt protected so that I wouldn't be sick in the night. And
Right.
part of that routine was like not allowed to go to the toilet. But yeah, but no, I was in the police for 10 years, normal police officer on the beat, as you do, blue lights, uniform, all that sort of
Chasing
stuff.
people down.
Yeah, chasing people down. So I'd arrest them and Baz would kind of lock them up, left their little cotton socks. And then my final role was in counter-terrorism intelligence before I was actually medically retired because of the bipolar and OCD. I just couldn't carry out my duties as a police officer effectively anymore. So.
Wow. And were you two together at that? So you two were together at that point.
So Baz,
I didn't imagine wandering into this, but as a couple, like my wife and I, she was ill, depression, postnatal, like a whole bunch of stuff, and it broke us eventually. We broke, right? And some other couples who I was working and talking with at the time, it broke them as well. You saw it through. How did you manage that as a couple? Couldn't have been easy.
I mean, at first.
But beforehand, we thought it was us as a relationship.
Yeah.
So we were going to relate counselling. We was trying to work down all the conventional routes to find out what was going on with us because we thought it was us. But it was only a process of elimination, and that we found out it was Loz's fault, not mine.
It's me.
Yeah.
So
women.
I think it's like Baz and I first met when we were like 3 and 4 years old,
Right. Wow.
And then we kind of went our own ways and met up again when I was 21 and you was 22. And we're now kind of like in our 40. Well, I'm 40. You're in your 40s. So we kind of had that little bit of a bond, but we just knew that, I was going to sound really sappy, but we just knew we were meant to be. And this is it. So we were like, let's fight for it.
Yeah.
But as Baz said, we went to relate counselling, but things were getting worse and worse kind of on my end. And it was only till my sergeant said, you need to go to the doctors because there's something not right. And it was when I went to the doctors that he diagnosed me with depression at first. And then we were like, this all makes sense now. And then it was about, how long was it between I went to my first appointment? It was 4 years until I finally got the diagnosis of bipolar, wasn't it? It was in 2009, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
4 years. That's insane.
4 years.
So when you're working with clients, do you think, are you able to spot this in people perhaps before they are, or you find you're more tuned into this subject in others?
I mean, everything that we do, to be honest with you, has pretty much come from our own experience and from my care of looking after my mental health. So we have like our rock solid model, where step 1, we acknowledge and accept, then we create awareness, then we take action, then we adjust and we get acceleration. So when I'm having an episode, we have to acknowledge I'm having an episode and actually be honest, because like if you're a mania, trust me, you don't want to admit it because it's so amazing. And you have to acknowledge what's going on. So you have to know your triggers, the symptoms, and then, that kind of stuff. Then you have to create awareness and go, right, what's going on? What's been the trigger? What are the symptoms? And then you take action with the care plan. And, we had all this written out, and then you make adjustments, and then if needs be, then I'll go and see a mental health professional like a psychiatrist or whatever it is, if it escalates that much.
Yeah. And so that point, you've been retired from work.
Yeah.
Barry, where were you at that point then?
I was in the prison service still.
In the prison service, right?
So literally, I wouldn't know what I was coming home to from one shift to the next shift, whether it was a depressed Loz or whether it was a mania Loz. So it was difficult times. But the thing is, when you're in a relationship, you work at these things. You have to understand it. And one thing I learned from this is I can't come at Loz with my own beliefs and my own values. I have to sit back and I have to park myself into neutral and listen to Loz, listen to what's going on with her life and how she's feeling. I have 2 ears and I have 1 mouth, and that's the biggest thing I've learned in this relationship is you have to listen to somebody else rather than just telling them what my beliefs and my values are, because the barriers come up then. Loz is having a difficult time or she's having a mania time. They're both difficult times, but I have to listen. And that's the one thing somebody who is suffering with mental health, they just want somebody to listen to them. They don't want somebody to dictate and tell them you need to do this, you need to do that. It's just by listening to someone, it can change it from night and day. It can bring someone from that mania down to I call it less mania, or I can bring them up from a depressed state to a normal inverted commas, but into a better state of mind.
Because we've always said that we have the condition, like as a collective, me and Baz.
Yeah. When I was diagnosed, I took it on as well.
So in a couple, I really get that. It's like having a stepchild. This is my perspective on having a stepchild. Is you can't love you can't love your wife and not have the step kid like as equal in that love. You take that person on as a package.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is you take each other on as a package, including the mental health that's there in your relationship.
100%.
You've been with me every single appointment I've been to.
I've never missed an appointment yet.
Yeah. And, the local doctor, when I was really unwell, got to know me. And the thing is, Johnny, I'm very good. Like, I can kind of wrap the doctors and psychiatrists around my finger because I kind of know what they're going to ask me and I know what they're going to say because I've got really good insight. So they'll always speak to Baz and they'll be like, what's really going on? Yeah. So he's been integral, really, in everything that's happened. So, and I honestly do say that if it wasn't for Baz, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you guys don't have kids either. So do you that's a choice you made, but I'm sure you don't approach it like this, but do you think it's easier to manage together with this without kids?
I think so, because kids are stressful. I don't care what anyone says. Everybody I speak to have got children. They go, oh my God, that it's hard work. It's hard work. But I think the fundamentals still exist. We still have to listen to each other. We still have to park ourselves in neutral. We still have to take our beliefs and values out of it when we listen to somebody. But I think having a kid there is just an added pressure that we have to adapt and deal with.
Yeah.
But I've never really wanted kids anyway, to be honest with you. Even as being young, I've never had that maternal feeling. I've always been very much, I want a career. Always been like that.
And cats.
A career and cats.
Crazy cat lady.
There's an upper limit on cats, but before you become crazy cat lady, right? I think it's 2, to be honest. I think when you get into the realms of 3, you're into sort of crazy cat.
We had 5.
We did have 5. So I'm definitely there.
We're on 3 now.
Yeah, because we lost one 3 weeks ago. Well, 4 weeks ago. So we're on 3 now. We had to have 4.
I think no kids, happy relationship, 3 cats. I think we're okay. I think we're okay on that front, definitely. So look, let's in the old podcasting cliche, let's change up gears. What point? This is important for me in Team Superdad. There came a point where you two, one have been retired from work, one's still at work. You've got these sort of ideas and dreams about we're going to start up a business together. Lots of couples, lots of dads on their own or mums on their own will sit in that thought forever and then regret that they never started their business. How did you guys come to the point where you dived in, you jumped off the edge and started Rock Solid Health?
It was kind of forced, really, because I was medically retired in September 2012. And I went to the doctor and he literally just said to me, right, that's it, go home. And I was like, yeah, but I need to go back to the office. No, go home. And that was it. And I was 33 years old, medically retired, mental health. I was like, I've just had the biggest rejection of my life. I can't see anybody wanting to, give me a job. And so I was waiting for the medical retirement. It wasn't until June 2013. So I was off all that time to contemplate what to do. And it was within that time that Rock Solid was born. So it was almost forced with us. However, we had to make the decision with you, didn't we? Whether we go balls deep with it, or we just kind of keep it as a little hobby project for me.
Because literally, Loz was running Rock Solid and I was doing the personal training side of it before I went to the prison service for my duties and when I come home. So I was working 2 jobs. And we sat down one evening and said, what are we going to do? Are we going to continue where we are and just stay what we're doing? Or are we just going to cut all the ties, burn the bridges, sail that ship and see how far we get with it?
And that was like June, July, August, September. So it was like September that we made that decision. I remember having conversations with friends, with family. What should we do?
It was tough.
And it was a tough decision because we were both on very good wages.
We was on full whack in the prison service. So over 30 grand a year I was bringing in. Loz was similar in the police. And literally overnight we went down to nothing.
And we just bought a house which was like £245,000.
Yeah.
So we were like,
real face up against the wall type.
Butt pucker moment. I think it's when you're in the butt pucker moments is when your true magic shines, because you're up against the wall and you have to excel. You have to put everything into it, and the ship just starts sailing, and then you're off on this massive journey that we're on now.
And it sounds cliche, but you really do have to ask yourself, what do I want from life? Am I really happy? What's the possibility of what I could create? And you just got to put big girl, big boy pants on and just go for it, because you can't live a life with regret. You just got to, go for it and have faith.
Yeah. Well, Wayne Dyer, I love Wayne Dyer stuff.
I love it, Wayne Dyer.
Don't die with the music inside you. You gotta get it all out, play it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about family and fitness. Okay, so you work with both men and women.
Yeah.
And they're generally, some of your programs and seeing some of the testimonials, okay, there's some pretty overweight people there. But do you work with all shapes and sizes, basically?
Yeah, because what we have to fundamentally remember is whenever we do any sort of work, it all starts up here.
In the head. Yeah.
In the head, yeah. So people on the podcast, it all starts in the head, right? Because it's our habits and our behaviours, like you said at the very beginning, that have gotten us to where we are. And it doesn't matter whether you're male, female, dog, cat, goldfish. We've all got habits that have got us to the point where we are. And we all have pretty much the same thought processes. It's just hormones that, changes that for us, really.
So as humans, are we like fundamentally lazy? Like when push comes to shove, we'd rather sit on our backside and eat bad food and watch TV, or are we being more and more conditioned by our easy life to operate like that?
It's our conditioning. It's definitely our conditioning, and life is getting, I want to say, easier, but it's not getting
Deliveroo. Just eat. You can eat crap instantly.
And everything comes to us. Back in the old days, we had to go out and work, hunter-gatherers. We had to move our bodies more to get our food, to go to work. The jobs were more physical. But nowadays, we are sat in front of a screen 90% of the day. Click a button, the food comes to us. And this is why I believe that we are changing our bodily structures, because we are getting, I wouldn't say lazy, we're adapting to the environment, and our environment is the thing that's changing.
I think one of the key things is that we're being dumbed down, whether it's by social media or media, to the fact of the possibility of what we can have.
Yeah.
You know, because and the confidence as well. Because like Baz said, it's conditioning. And I feel that sometimes it is conditioning. A lot of people that come to us, they have these hopes, they have these dreams when we dig them out, but fundamentally they don't believe they're worthy of it, or they're enough, or that they can actually have it. But once we spark them and give them a bit of self-confidence, bit of self-worth, they're like, oh, I can actually do this. And then they start to see that the world's their oyster.
Yeah. And that's really core to me inside of Team Superdad as well, because where, you know, people know this, but when I started Team Superdad, it was very much about single dads. And then I got to the point, a good friend of mine's wife said, don't you worry that you'll always be stuck in that subject. And it was as I kind of processed that, I started to realize, hang on a minute, the vision and goals I have for myself and my life now, fall in love, look after my children, have a nice home, go on holiday, do some cool work that I enjoy. Hang on a minute. They were the same visions and goals I had way back. And actually they were the visions and goals I took into my marriage. So aside from the toxic nature of single parent communities that I don't really want to be part of, there was also this essence, just like you've said, of what is your vision and goal? Because we've got to get back to that vision and goal for yourself in your life, because that's where you can get up off your ass and suddenly be motivated. And you just said it yourself, when you ask people that, and it's a good test for anybody listening to this. If you can't instantly say, it doesn't have to be just one, right? But if you can't instantly say, a vision and goal for my life is this, a 5-bedroom house with a garden and a drive. Okay. And why is that? Oh, because my kids, and I want my dad to live in downstairs, and I want to like, so have that, people need to have that goal like really present, and have them in different areas of their life. But I know when I speak to people, I know when I'm feeling a bit down on myself, being present to what those goals are, they're out of reach. They're out of our mind, let alone out of reach.
And I know very much for us, it's like, a lot of people come to like, I want to lose weight. And I'm like, oh, that's a really boring goal. Like, are you really motivated to do it when you really get down to it? But I know in one of our programs, we were talking about F7, you know, on day 2, we asked people, what are your goals? But more importantly, what are your aspirations? And we get them to think like a kid. And the amount of people that say, I want to learn a language, I want to write a book, I want to travel. You know, one lady said, I want to pull over a Krispy Kreme truck and, you know, sort of like steal it. And I'm like, great, I love it, you know. But, you know, I want people to dream. And once they say, I want to travel, right, okay, how do you feel about traveling at the moment? Well, you know, my weight holds me back, so I don't want to sit in the chair. And it's like, right, okay, well, let's make that an aspiration then. Let's really create that for you and get you excited about it, rather than just being stuck to a number, you know?
Yeah. And that's where they get the motivation from, right? That's where you can create a shift in their day-to-day routines.
Yeah, because I think weight loss is, as Loz says, it's quite a boring goal, and it's so over exaggerated now. Weight loss. But realistically, is it weight loss you really want, or is it what the thing or weight loss gives you that you really want? But we're so focused on the numbers and weight loss because it's so publicized in the media. But realistically, weight loss is not people's goals. It's what weight loss will give them: the confidence, the relationships, the be able to live longer, be able to have more energy, to be able to feel free in their body, to be pain free. These things are more powerful than weight loss, but we tend to focus all our energy on weight loss because it's so out there. I've got to lose weight. Got to get in the dress. I was 10 dress.
Yeah, I want to be able to carry my kids in from the car because they're falling asleep.
Yeah.
And Jago's nearly 8.5 stone now, right? So like that's tricky. I mean, most of the time I say no, I can't do that anymore. But the next stage on from that is I want to be able to outrun them in the park, just for fun, just for kicks. Like, Daddy, let's have a race, okay? And I'm not one of those dads that lets their kids win. Right?
But even like Father's Day, sports day at school, you want to be the dad they can be proud of because you won the race or whatever it is. Or when you're 80, 90 years of age, you can still go in the garden with your grandchildren and play around.
I mean, exactly. How cool is that? You know, we have a lot of people who have got, you know, children. It's like, well, wouldn't it be nice to be around to see your children get married and have grandchildren? Yeah, it would. Now, isn't that a goal to get you to be able to start thinking about your health.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than weight loss, let's think about your health and being the healthiest person you can be in mentally, physically, emotionally, so you can have those extra few years to be able to enjoy all of that.
Because if you think about it, Johnny, weight loss is just the byproduct of you looking after your health.
Yeah.
If you look after your health truly, your body will be at the weight that it's most comfortable at, that you are. Because we're all different shapes and sizes, colors, creeds, and everything like that. And if you look after your health as your priority, your weight will be what it needs to be for you to be that healthy person.
Yeah. So if you think right, eat right, and work out right, then you're creating the perfect environment for your body to.
Yeah. And you forgot about sleep. We need to get our sleep right. We need to get our hydration right. We need to get our nutrition right. We need to get our thought management right. We need to get the de-stress me time right. We need to get all of these pillars right, and then your health is going to be amazing.
And what about people that say, oh, well, that's great, but that's a lot of work, really, quite frankly. I don't know how I'm going to fit all that in.
And that is because, unfortunately, they've been brainwashed by the fitness industry that it's got to be difficult.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's got to be simple. It's got to be satisfying. So it's something you enjoy to do, so it can be sustainable. So, for example, how do I start drinking more water? Do you think that tomorrow morning, when you get up, the first thing you do, that you'd be able to have a glass of water for us? Right?
Pint. That's what I do. Pint.
Do you think
straight down the hatch?
Even if it's 250, yeah, okay. Is that simple? Yeah. Is that something that will give you a bit of satisfaction that you've achieved something? Yeah, great. Do you think that's something that would be sustainable then? Yeah, cool. Because we're all about helping people find their own version, not what the local, the plan is or whatever it is, because, they're shoehorning themselves in. It's like, let's do what works for you. Let's get you sleep right. Go to bed, get up. That's one of our programs. What, you want me to sleep? Yeah. And they're like, I'm on board with that. Drink some more water. Simple things. Even like when we do breath coaching, it's like 2 minutes. That's it. So we need it to fit into people's lives, and they can adapt it into their lives.
Okay, so let's break some of these down, right? So drinking a pint of water in the morning, or whatever is a decent, whatever's a decent amount of water for that person. What the breakthrough for me in that was such a simple thing, but learning that that's the perfect way to properly flush out toxins from our body. I was like, okay, that's really obvious, and it kind of wakes me up, so I can get on with the rest of my morning routine. So I like that. What about sleep? But just for anyone that's watching or listening, we will end this with conversation about fitness and some exercise stuff, right? But
this is essential.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. That's why I want to break it into a bit more detail. Sleep. What's a couple of things that people can do to improve their sleep environment?
The first thing you need to do is make a commitment to yourself. I'm going to go to bed at this time. And then you're going to wake up at this time. So try and get it, whether it is 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever it is right for you. Let's make a commitment to have a regular bedtime, rather than just go, I'll just watch one more Netflix program. I'll just watch one more episode, and it's too sporadic. We need to get a routine going. So that's the first, right, 10 o'clock is my bedtime. I go to sleep. Everything goes off at 10 o'clock, and nothing shifts from that. I'll make that commitment to myself. And I think that's the first port of call. Pick your bedtime. Let's stick with it.
And, very much, being able to have a period of time where you relax before you go to bed. So we always talk about bookending your day, AM and PM routines. So sleep environment would be things like making sure the room's not too hot, making sure you've covered up little lights, that sort of thing. Making sure you've got good bed, nice bedding, all these sorts of things. If you want low lighting, have that. If you want, oils, all that sort of stuff, have that. But it's very much about making sure those things are nailed when it comes to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, good bed linen is expensive, but it's not like you're just going to wear it once or something, is it? You know what I mean? Like if you went and spent 100 quid on bed linen, you're going to sleep in it for 365 days. So it's like 30p a night, it's not a big investment.
I'm saying cheap is expensive.
Yeah, because you get taxed on sleep quality. Yeah.
Also, it doesn't last as long.
You replace it. Yeah. Replace it. So our pillars are sleep, then water. So they're our first two pillars.
Okay, cool. Now, what about diet, and this is interesting for me because we've got individuals and their diet, but there's also family and diet.
Mhm.
I guess what's the biggest clanger that people drop with their day-to-day food intake?
So, I mean, the big thing is that, it takes too much time and I don't want to cook from scratch.
So they're
Yeah.
eating what, ready meals and things?
Ready meals, fast food, and takeaways.
Takeaways. Yeah.
Do you know, because that just doesn't compute for me, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's because it's how I was brought up. I know it's because I know how to cook. I know it's just because of what I do. But the occasion that we have a ready meal, it's some kind of that we're going to be home late. I'm going to grab that, or we're going to it's almost like an emergency type thing. It's not a normal thing. I can't imagine going and buying 15 ready meals. I just can't imagine it.
People don't, they do it ad hocly, and it's like they're having a stressful day. Their mind can't process and deal with stressful situations. So why am I going to put another stressful situation by cooking my meal? I tell you what, sod it. Let's just go and buy a ready meal on the way home, or have a takeaway on the way home. It's like ad hoc. Can't be asked. I'll just do that.
I also feel like half of the problem is steeped within the fitness industry, though, because there's so many rules, right, about what you can eat and what you can't eat, to the point that it's absolutely absurd that somebody would consider an apple being bad for you. I mean, come on, how far have we come?
From the apple tree.
Exactly, from the apple tree. For people to be questioning, should I eat this sort of vegetable or should I eat that? I mean, it's like, come on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So a pork chop, some broccoli, a carrot, and a jacket potato takes about 20 minutes to cook, basically. And clearly that's a healthy meal.
Yeah. You got vegetables on your plate. I'm a big thumbs up. That's where I get my guys to start. Stick a plant on your plate. Let's start there. Start with something that's manageable. We can always build and progress up.
Yeah.
Rather than starting off, right, you've got to do this lean cuisine. Everything's got to be organic. Everything's got to be perfect. No, let's just start with something that's achievable for you. And it might be, let's just put a carrot on your plate, or a floret of broccoli. Let's start somewhere, and then we build.
Yeah. And just sidetracking a little bit, kids that are overweight, that all falls in and around this subject because they're learning off of their parents, right?
Yeah, I believe that we need to tackle the family as a whole, rather than just saying about the children or the parents. We need to get the kids involved with the cooking and the preparation of the food, bring the families together, and I'll start educating them what food is about, where food comes from, and how it affects your body.
So, we wrote a children's book and we went and taught just over 5,000 kids a couple of years ago on food.
The Good Food Gang.
Yeah, the Good Food Gang.
Cool.
It's, about educating them. And we really learned that, we can educate the kids and we can teach them this stuff. But when they go home, as we spoke about at the beginning of the podcast, what's the environment that the kids are going back to? Is the environment that they're going back to that the only food they know comes out of a box?
Yeah.
Do you know what's quite scary, Johnny? When we was doing this, we was asking the kids where food comes from, and we asked them where chips come from. Okay, so we put up a big picture of a portion of chips. Where does it come from? Guess what the answer was?
I don't know, something stupid like trees or something.
No, McDonald's.
Oh.
I would have thought they would have understood. Oh, they come from mum's house, or they come from potatoes. They come from the ground. They come from a farm. Whatever it was, they actually originated. But no, they didn't realise a chip was actually a potato. And
it's like a Haribo, it's like a sweet, it's like a thing. A chip is a thing, is made. Yeah.
And that's what really scared me, because the education isn't there. It is just all about this convenience. Let's get food in our body and then get on with the day. It's not a thing that we used to sit around the table and have meals together and celebrate the food and make it a thing. But now it's just food, get it down my face as quickly as I can, then I can get on with either doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah. So in tying this back into the parents and then the kids, got the time issue that we were talking about before, Loz, and then we've got the mental health stuff as well. But somehow across the schedule in a week, saying at the very least, on these 4 nights we have a meal. Like we're going to have something takeaway, or we're going to have a pizza on that night because you've got football and ballet, right? But those 4 nights we're going to have jacket potato, pork chop, and 2 bits of veg. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, my kids and I, we probably eat 15 different things, and it just goes on rotation, right?
Yeah.
And I do try and mix it up, but when they're young, they actually find comfort in their favorites. So I just make sure our favorites are healthy. But there's health, there's family, there's routine, there's conversation and connectedness. There's so much here that we're tying into the feeling good bit, so that we can actually go out and get healthy.
And that's what I was going to say to Johnny. It's not just about the nutritional food we're getting at the dinner table. It's the other stuff, the connection we have with our families, mum, dad. We can talk, we can discuss, we can communicate while we're sitting around the table. And it's all about making the time. We all say we're busy people and we haven't got the time, but we make time for certain things, but we neglect time for other things. And it's just where our priorities sit with what we can do with it. We all got 24 hours, but there's a priority list we have.
Yeah, totally. And so, what about the fitness side of things? Like we're sleeping right, we're drinking our water, we're eating in a much better way. We're involving our kids. So when push comes to shove, now we've actually got to burn some of this weight off. I mean, I know there's stages that people are at. Like I could get fitter. I mean, looking at you, Barry, you're physically bigger than me in terms of your body muscles and stuff. I've got bigger muscles than I've ever had right now, thanks to lockdown, and a shift in my mindset a few years ago. People always start the opposite way around. Let's do it this way. People that are fit, should they carry on? Should they have goals to get fitter? Should they carry on? Like if I keep running 5K, should they go and run 10K? What's it someone who's fit go and do to maintain that?
Look at us. I do CrossFit, and I'm always wanting to go, right, what can I work on next? How can I be quicker? There's always a progression that you can do. So absolutely.
I think the thing is, we got to ask us, what do you enjoy doing? What do you want to have a go at? What do you want to try? What's the new things that you want to do? Because our bodies are amazing things, and they do so many things. We bend, we can become more flexible, we can become stronger, we can be more powerful, quicker. We can become bigger, we can become smaller, we can become quicker. There's so many aspects of it. And then we can divert into different sports as well. Do I want to do a water sports? Do I want to ride a bike? Do I want to kayaking? There's so many different things that we venture into.
This summer, half the world's gone and got a paddleboard or a canoe. It's
definitely.
We always say to people, do what you enjoy. So many people come to us, I hate going to the gym, and I'm like, why are you going there? You're just going to get a bad association with it if you haven't already from school, from having to do PE in your bloody underpants.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But we all think that we need to get healthy by going to the gym
or going for a run.
Yeah, but let's do something that moves our body the way it makes you feel good, that you enjoy it. And then there's always progressions.
Okay, cool. So those people who are really unfit, overweight, haven't worked out in years, what are some of the breakthrough alternatives that can start them off getting fit and healthy?
Find what they want to do and start small. We had a lady on our F90 program, and she had a cross trainer sat in her bedroom like a clothes horse. It was just putting all the clothes on. And we said, why don't you use it? She goes, oh, I'm no good. I can only do a minute on there. And I was like, okay, well, could you do a minute for me every morning? And she was like, well, yeah, but it's not going to do anything because we all think we need to do an hour's training.
Well, sorry to cut in, but that must be the biggest killer of motivation is what's the point?
100%.
Because the fitness industry have brainwashed him.
But we were doing the minute. And then the next week I said, can you do a minute 5 seconds? And she goes, well, yeah. And then it was a minute.
Of course 30. I can. Yeah. We say,
Minute 30, a minute 40. By the end of the 90-day program, she was going to aerobics classes for an hour.
Right. It doesn't matter the magnitude of the thing that you do, just that you do something that's simple, that's satisfying, which means it's sustainable.
But how good does it feel, Johnny, when you're at point A and you get to point A, point 1 kind of thing? You made that small progression. It feels good, doesn't it?
That's what I say to my kids, let alone dads in Team Super Dad, is the magic is at the finish line. You get to decide where the finish line is, but the magic is on like you said, it's at a minute, then it's at a minute 5. It's a park run that you walked, which by the way is a way better than the million people who didn't walk the park run, or any other version of those things. When after our separation, when I was, had to rebuild my mental health, I realized, singing wouldn't necessarily some people wouldn't think that singing is necessarily a healthy thing, but I imagine with the breathing and with the confidence stuff that comes with it, I'd imagine even something as basic as that would be healthy for someone.
So like we coach people on breath work,
yeah,
to help them get from sympathetic to parasympathetic. So from fight or flight to rest and digest. And that's why singing's so good, because you do it through the diaphragm and it stimulates the vagal nerve that helps to put you into rest and digest, which unfortunately we're go all the time, and it's no good for our bodies, for our weight, for our health, nothing. And so you're absolutely right in terms of the singing, how it actually puts you into that rest and digest state.
So bizarrely, someone who's thinking I can't get on a bike or go swimming or go for a run or go for a walk or can't do anything exercise based, simply by singing they could create the changes in their body that shifts that to, well, maybe I could go for a walk, maybe I could go for a swim.
Small little steps, building up self-confidence. Our guys were doing a steps challenge at the moment, and some of them, they'll say, I only did 2022 steps today, and I'm like, well, it's better than 2021.
Totally.
Which is like amazing.
So in terms of challenges like that, I know I'm just repeating what we've just said here, but let's just to be clear, someone doing 5 press-ups each day, that's their own little challenge, and it is totally worth it.
Yes,
100%.
absolutely. It's just the problem is we're comparing ourselves to the dude that we see on Instagram who's doing clapping push-ups on a Busu ball.
Yeah. So they can get on their knees, lean on their elbows, do what seems to be the crappiest press-ups in the world.
Lean against the wall, do a press-up against the wall. Have to be on the floor. Doesn't have to be. I've got some clients who they feel in fear of getting on the floor because they might not get back up again. And I know they can, but they have the fear that they can't. So I get them doing push-ups against the wall.
Right.
Let's build that confidence from here. And then every day, I'd rather them get 1,000 wins by doing 1,000 little progressions than doing one massive progression, then jumping on the floor, trying to do the clap press up, falling on their face, and I'm never going to exercise again.
And like people say, I can't squat. I'm like, you get on the toilet, don't you? Yeah, you stand up. Yeah, well, you've done a squat.
I would have said the chair, not the toilet.
I know, who hasn't got a chair? No, I love that. I love that about squats. Yeah, can you get off that couch?
Exactly. And it's very much, and especially, I feel for men as well, because it's very much, you got to be strong, you got to be tough, you got to do this. But some men don't feel like that inside. And they think that the only way to do it is to do a full military push-up or a full pull-up. But a lot of people can't do that. So it's like, okay, well, what's right for you then? What would empower you? What would make you feel good? And then you build up from there.
Yeah. And park run is a great example of this, isn't it? People of all shapes and sizes.
I love park run.
17-year-old at the front that won it in 16 minutes. And the disabled bloke and the lady, with her dog at the back, who took an hour to do or even longer. And the fact there's 500 people, some of them are like 500 people at the start. I think that's a real obvious is the wrong word, but that's a tangible example of how fitness can work for everybody of all shapes and sizes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fitness is a thing that we do just to move our body. It's just been given the label of fitness, exercise, training, whatever it is. But let's just move our body, because our bodies are designed to move. And the more we move our body, the more efficient it becomes at that action. Yeah. And then what we do, we add some stimulus to it. And it's the stimulus we apply to our body which enables us to adapt to the stimulus. So that's all we need to do, is slowly add stimulus to our training regime over a period of time. But small changes makes the big
By stimulus, do you mean rewards or slight extend it slightly, make it a little bit further or something?
Yeah, so we might run a little bit further, we might walk a bit further, we might do a few more reps with the weights, or we might increase the weight, we might add a pulse, we might do more powerful movements, quicker movements. So these are all different ways to increase the stimuli that we apply to our body.
Yeah. So I hear stimuli is you're not going to get bored. Your body's not going to go into, I know what I'm doing, I'll slack off.
Yeah, it's just putting a bit more strain on the body.
Yeah.
So rather than doing a push-up against the wall, you might go, actually, I'm ready. I'm going to do a push-up on my knees, or I'm going to do a push-up on the sofa. So it's just adding a little bit more resistance, a little bit more intensity, pushing it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Stepping out of the comfort zone just a little bit, because we need to get comfortable at being uncomfortable when it comes to our physical activity.
And what are some of, because we're heading towards the end now, what are some of the favourite sort of results you've had from your guys who've been part of Rock Solid Health?
So many.
No, I know there is, but everyone, you've got, oh, I love Sandra, what she didn't do,
Do you know what I absolutely love? I love it when people realise that they don't need to live within their little box. They start to go, oh, hang on a second, maybe I can do that. Like we have a group workout on a Sunday morning, and people who have come along and they've been like, oh, I can't do that. And when they walk away and they realise they've done something, that is what lights me up. Somebody who breaks out of their box and goes, actually, I don't need this rubbish from the past. I can create what I want. I'm proud of me. I love me. That's amazing.
And it's like you see the before and after pictures, majority of the time online, that's what people are striving for. But that doesn't mean anything until you see someone's face and they go, oh my God, I've taken control. I've taken ownership of my own health. And now I'm doing this, and this, and this. And they don't even mention about a weight loss or a dress size or whatever, or trouser size. They are saying, this is what I can do now. This is how I feel about myself. I no longer hate myself. I actually love and respect myself. And they do more of what they've learned through our processes.
I couldn't, every single one of our clients, I mean, we've got like in our memberships, like about 120 people, and it's like every single one of those are making progress, and it's all relative to them. And I'm just proud of every single one of them, because they've all pushed a little bit out of their comfort zone. They're all making progress in their own way.
And we're talking different, so we've got men and women, all ages.
Yeah, men and women. So from the age of like 25 all the way up to 65.
Great. Well, listen, to take this opportunity to explain to people where they can come and get involved with you guys.
So come and find us on Facebook at Rock Solid Healthy. Also, come and check us out on Instagram, Rock Solid UK, and there will be the best places to kind of come and have a chat with us.
And I'm guessing some of it's online now, is it, or how's that working?
I mean, we've pretty much been online for 5 or 6 years. So most of the stuff that we do is online, even the breath work, the one-to-one work, the group coaching, all online. So we've got clients in America and all that. So
the new launch of the new website's coming through soon. That's really exciting stuff. So what's the new domain name, Loz?
It'll be Rock Solid Health. That'll be the new domain name. But at the moment, it's rocksolidforlife.com. And yes, we've got a whole new hub coming for the membership guys. I'm so excited for them. So yeah, it's really cool. It's moving forward with full force.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well, one final question: what's with the superhero t-shirts? Because we're Team Super Dad. You generally guys are wearing superhero t-shirts. Is that something for your personal branding, or are you basically superhero junkies as well?
Story behind
it.
Very quick story. When me and Loz first met, we was 3 and 4 years of age at preschool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we used to play The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, or play that.
Yeah.
Loz was Firestar, I was Iceman, and a friend of mine was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
This is what we used to play. And then when me and Loz met back up when we was in our 20s, we didn't realise who we were. And we was talking what school to go to, what primary school, what preschool. Oh, yeah, I went to that one. And I used to play with this girl and oh, my God, so did I. And that's how we first met. So ever since then, we've always been interested in superheroes.
Always loved it. I'm a massive...
Superman is the man.
I'm a huge superhero geek. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm probably one of their super fans, which I don't often admit to. It's just something that we love. We always have done, and more than just about the colours and that sort of stuff. It's about the metaphors and the stories behind their stories that we love as well.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
that's the same for me and Team Super Dad. Like, there isn't this place that people have got to get to become a super dad. That's not it at all. The super dad is us. It's what we do and it's who we are. And of course, we can learn new things that make us be a better parent, that make us be a better lover, that make us manage our finances better. But it comes from inside that, like, I want to be great with my kids. I want to do it all. I want to see them more. I want to look after them. I want to put them to bed. I want to, like, that essence of who we are, and allowing it to come out. And that's what I've really enjoyed about our conversation today. People get caught up in the idea that it's about health and fitness, but actually it's not. It's about enjoying life to the max, and that health and fitness coming with it, enjoying our work, being better partners. And so often people fail to realize that the breakthroughs they have in one area of life are going to happen in all the areas of life at the same time.
We're all superheroes. We've all got a superpower. We just need to realize it and embrace it.
Embrace it. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. There'll be some show notes where I'll link all this up to as well. If you've enjoyed the Team Super Dad podcast and you've listened this far, then blimey, come and give us a review and share this and spread the word. And I look forward to having you back on the next episode. Laura, Barry, Laura, we'll let that fight go on between you. I'll see you in the mastermind, and thanks again for joining us here on the Team Super Dad podcast.
Really appreciate it.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye, guys.